Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds. Welcome once again to Ask the Cheeseman, and this is where you can ask all your cheese making questions. Well, home cheese making anyway. I don't profess to being a cheese making professional, but I've got enough experience that I can answer most of your questions, which is good. This is episode 116. Lovely to see so many people here already. I think it says we've got 25 watching, which is fantastic this time on a Saturday morning for us. And we've got an international cast and crew in the chat by the looks of it, which is absolutely fantastic. Let me have a look where everybody is from. Oh, we've got people from San Francisco, Sydney, Argentina, Cleveland, Ohio, Texas, where else? Melbourne? Somewhere in California, Jordan is. Bounty Hunter D and Ivan the Invincible. Nice to see you watching. And Brazil, Leonardo from Brazil, Claudio from Texas as well. Goodness me. Karen from Washington State. We have got so many people online. Now, I'm just checking my microphone. Looks like it's a bit too loud. No, that's better. Lovely. So just a little bit of housekeeping as always on these chats. Today's YouTube member is Jay Biggins. Thank you, Jay, for all of your kind financial support, and thanks to all of the YouTube members and patrons for supporting the show financially. I really do appreciate it. That's what keeps Kim employed in cheese. And we've also got Kim in the chat. She'll be moderating today. So any naughty boys and girls coming along, she'll quickly ban those comments and get them out the way. And she'll be providing us with links for videos to augment your questions and my answers, of course. Now, this weekend's video, which I'm still processing at the moment, is going to be the cold-pressed milk test. I've probably been harping on that for a little while, but that will be released this weekend, followed by some taste tests, which I'm filming tomorrow on Father's Day. It's Father's Day here in Australia tomorrow. And next week, a video will be Grana Padano. Plus, I've got a lot of other ideas. And hopefully we'll get a sunny day and I can smoke some cheese as well. That'll be great. Okay. So let's say a few g'days, of course, as we always do here. Laura Vomes, g'day mate. Arslan, I think that's how you say it. Chocolate RX. John, g'day John. Jones, g'day Jones. Hi, I'm from Algeria, but I can't understand the writing. Don't read Arabic, but thank you very much for attending the channel. That's lovely. Luke, Pedro, Malinko, I think. Larry, Deep South Texas. Where else? We got Kim, of course, as I mentioned. Jordan, g'day mate, how are you? Leonardo, Claudio, Luke, Karen. Who else we got here? Christina, g'day Christina. Jennifer, Donna, Dwayne, David, Stephen, Oz Watchers, who is Jason. G'day, Jason. We had a chat during the week. That was lovely. Sally, Craig. G'day, Craig. Lovely to see you again, mate. Pam. Thank you, Pam, for turning up. That's fantastic. I think you might be first time. And Hadia. I think that's how you say it. Okay. So start throwing up your questions in the chat, and I'll start answering them, and we'll see how far we go. Okay, so first question of the day is from, it's probably a statement, I think, maybe, from John. And John says, we are definitely getting international here. Cheese is international. Indeed it is. I reckon, as he mentions, the next couple lines down, too bad we can't all sit down and have some cheese, world peace would break out. I reckon that would be true, 100%. Okay, first question is from Jones. Jones says, I've got all the supplies, but I'm scared to start. Can you give me a good recipe to try a hard waxed dipped shelf stable version? Shelf stable. Oh, it depends on your temperature. I love my soft ones, but would like to advance. Now, just remember that you need an area or somewhere that would be about between 10 and 13 degrees in your house. And it may be a little bit difficult in some warmer climates. So maybe just the warmest part of the kitchen fridge may suffice if you don't have a dedicated fridge to ripening your cheese. And if you're going to get serious, then I definitely recommend, I've just got a bar fridge with an external thermostat, which Kim can find the link if you just want to pop that up. But as far as answering the question around a good recipe for a hard wax dipped shelf stable, no such thing as a shelf stable cheese per se, unless you've got the right temperatures. So, a suggestion. My first one, actually wasn't even waxed, and that was Caerphilly. A very lovely little cheese. Got a nice firm outside rind, but a fairly soft paste inside. Only matures for 3 weeks, and it tastes amazing. So, Kim, if you can find the link there for Caerphilly, that would be wonderful, and hopefully Jones can have a look at that. Now, if you want to do a waxed cheese, I think probably one of the easiest cheddar sort of style cheeses to try would be a stir-curd cheddar. And maybe if you wait until tonight or tomorrow when I pop the video up, the cold pressed milk test is actually using a modified stirred curd cheddar recipe, or farmhouse cheese they call it too as well. And you'll find that it's a fairly simple process, and you get a very, very nice cheese out of it. So, but I think I've got other videos around farmhouse cheeses or stirred curd cheddars, so you can go and check those out. What's the next question? Let's have a look. Larry says at Deep South, Texas, he says, when making mozzarella, if you double the amount of culture, will the curds acidify faster? Any problems with trying that? There's never any problems with trying stuff, Larry. They will. You'll have a more viable colony of culture in your milk if you add some more. With mozzarella, it's probably not so bad because you're not going to age it. You're going to eat it straight away, so no big deal really. Yes, they do. They don't acidify. They won't acidify it fast, so they'll eat more. Let me think. I'm trying to think about this scientifically. So on most culture packets, you'll see when they're given the recommended dosage, you'll see there's a curve, and there's a little line that indicates the initial pH, which is about 6.8 of the milk. You then add the starter culture, and then it starts to drop. Depending on how far it drops is the type of starter culture you're using. And it usually drops down to about 4.6, pH of 4.6, which starts to get fairly acidic, right? And it does that over time. Now, obviously, the more culture you've got in there eating more lactose, the quicker it's going to acidify. So, yeah, I think your theory is pretty sound. You can give it a go. I don't think there'll be too much of an issue with it. Maybe you won't have to wait so long like I certainly have when I've made cow's milk mozzarella the traditional way. So not the 30-minute mozzarella or quick mozzarella. You don't add culture to that. You just add citric acid. But it doesn't keep as long, that's for sure. But give it a go, Larry. No probs. Chocolate RX says, hope you don't mind. I've got several questions today. Not at all. That's what this show's for. It's called Ask the Cheeseman, so ask away. John says, Chelvis has entered the building. Nice one. Like that. Maybe it's not the haircut, is it, mate? I had a haircut yesterday, for those who are wondering. Okay, Chocolate RX says, I would like to make skyr, but the brand of milk I have doesn't have a skimmed milk. They have whole, 2%, whipping cream, and half and half. Can I still make it with a 2% milk? Yes, you can. So what the fat content for my one was 1.3 was what the skim were, and there's actually even a if you go and have a look at there's a video I made around the different types of milk for cheese making, different types of cow's milk, and if Kimmy can pop up the link to that one, best cow's milk for cheese making, I think it's something like that. It's called. And there's actually one that's 0.5%. It's like coloured water, basically. So that is the lowest fat, but 2% is sufficient. Really, I think that'll be fine. You'll just get a little bit more yield than what I did. Claudio says, Gavin, hope all is fine with you. Have you tried Mont Dior? Will you? I have not seen it for sale here in Australia, Claudio. They have some fairly strict regulations for importing cheese. That's why we don't see many international cheeses except some of the ones that have passed testing. But if you've watched anything that Will Studd has done, like his TV series Cheese Slices, he often mentions that trying to get cheese into Australia is almost impossible. I remember his company, their cheese distribution company, they tried to get in some raw milk. Was it raw milk Roquefort? I think it was, and they ended up having to bury it all in landfill because the government or the government agency wouldn't pass it through quarantine. So we're talking tons of cheese they had to bury. So no, I don't think I'll be trying Mont Dior unless there's a variety some artisan is making here in Australia, or I don't know. I'll have to see if I can find a recipe. I haven't seen one in any of my cheese making books, but I'll have a look. But thanks for the suggestion, Claudio. Okay. Next question is from. Where are we? Lots of hellos. It was so good. Luke says he likes the ship's plaques in the background. Yes, there are ship's plaques in the background. Let me see if I can go. So that one there in the darkness there is HMAS Adelaide, FFG01, which I went to the Gulf War on. The next one is, that one there, is HMAS Canberra, which is I served on twice for 2 periods of 2 years. It's another Oliver Hazard Perry class frigate, and I don't know if you can see that one there. That's HMS King Alfred, where I actually met Kim on an exchange. She's English, I'm Australian, and we fell in love and got married. So all the way from England. So that was pretty cool. Frobel says, "What's my favourite wine cheese combo?" Let me think. So I like any Bloomy Rinds go really nicely, and it's not even a wine; it's a cider. Go with a nice sweet or dry cider. So Bloomy Rinds like Camembert and stuff like that. They're good fun. For the sharper cheeses like so a blue cheese goes fairly well with a robust red wine, so something like a Shiraz, Merlot, that sort of thing, as does strong cheddars as well. Cheddars go really well with ale as well as a beer. So don't when it comes down to wine and cheese combos, don't forget beers and ciders as well. They have their place in the combination world. But yeah, look, I kind of stick to what I drink, what I like, and eat what I like. Especially when it comes to a cheese platter. You got a cheese platter, doesn't really matter what kind of wine you got. It all goes down well. I like it anyway. Law of Ohms says, I agree. Your voice is like Barry White. Both my kids like to watch your episodes of cheese making as bedtime stories. keeps me entertained and puts them to sleep. Shout out to Connor and Lily. Hello, Connor and Lily. Nice to nice to know that I'm doing bedtime stories now, which Kim and I have been joking lately that I'm going to be recording a sleep video. I think it'll be a cheese story. I'm thinking of reading out maybe chapter 1 of my the first book, Keep Calm and Make Cheese. Sit in the big comfy chair that Holly's sitting in now, as you can see there. Hello, Holly. Holly, there she is. Looks like she's half asleep, but sitting in the comfy chair and basically reading a story, a cheesy story. That would be cool. Anyway, thanks. That's cool. John says another question about the cold press raw milk terroir taste. Long term go sharp or remain mild, or mild terroir taste flavour or more intense. Well, that's all to be decided very soon, John. The cheese hasn't matured yet. It's only been in the cheese cave 2 weeks tops since I filmed that session of cheese making, so I really won't know. I'm hoping that some of the lactic bacteria may have survived the process. It does say it's, I don't know if this is true. On the bottle it said it was enzyme rich, so those enzymes will break down, I hope, and turn the cheese into something exceptional, but we'll see. But like I said last week on the live stream, the milk set extremely well. It was just amazing. I've never seen a curd set like it, and during the handling of the cheese, stirring and all that stuff, exceptional behaviour, I suppose. Compares exceptionally well to raw milk that I've used in the past. Chocolate RX says Cowgirl Creamery has cheeses wrapped in leaves or covered in flower petals, mushrooms, herbs, mushrooms, or peppers. Do you think these things would significantly enhance or change a cheese flavour? Yeah, a little bit, not that much. Probably more for show, if anything. The mushrooms probably would. I don't know about the peppers, as in if you're talking about what we call capsicums here, or if they're chilies, then yeah, they would. The things wrapped in leaves, like there's a cheese from Cornwall that I know called Yarg, and that is wrapped in stinging nettle leaves. Apparently imparts a little bit of a flavour to the cheese, or they wouldn't do it. I've also seen cheeses wrapped in grapevine leaves. I've also seen cheeses wrapped in spruce bark. I think it's spruce bark. And that's wrapped as a band around the cheese, and that imparts a flavour in the cheese. But yeah, I think they would. In fact, I think Craig, who's in the chat, actually made a cheese with truffles in it recently. I don't know if he's tasted it yet, but if he has, that'd be great. Craig, if you could chime in and expand a little bit on that, because I know you use a fair bit of truffles. Would I consider experimenting with that? Well, I've got a grapevine out the back, so I'm thinking of wrapping a cheese in grapevines this year. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I'm definitely going to get some truffles and try that, depending on how Craig's experiment. I don't want to be a trailblazer there, because truffles are fairly expensive. So anyway, Jones says, super hot here, 10 to 13 degrees will be hard, but not impossible. Oh, that's good to see. You should be able to get your cheeses in there. Hader says, we've got a large herd of goats and need to stop wasting what's not getting used. So best storage and recipes will be lovely rancher in Arrive, CA, California, Canada, not sure. Okay, look, you can use any of the recipes that I put up, you can use with goat's milk. It's no big deal. You will need to use a little bit more rennet. I think it's about 5% more. For goat's milk to get it to set properly, you may even need to use calcium chloride. The same amount, no more. I wouldn't do it too much. It'd it may go a little bit bitter. So, yeah, look, any of those cheeses. So start making some of the harder style cheeses, and they store very long. So things like Parmesan, Romano, definitely Romano you can make. There's goat milk Romanos, no problems at all. And just remember, there's a higher fat content, so you'll get a higher yield in your cheese, which would be good. Laura Vohm says, re-milk section. I emailed Paul's Milk about the cream added to their Farmhouse Gold and told that there were no added thickeners. That's good to hear. I actually thought there might be. You don't know, of course. They don't actually say anything. It just says, well, it says milk and cream, so technically they're supposed to divulge that there is thickeners and stuff added to the cream, but if there's not, then I have tried using it before. It didn't set a curd very well. So whether I didn't mix the cream up properly, I think I did. I used a whisk and gave it a nice lively whisk in, because normally with that, it's a brand here in Australia, what they do, they actually add cream to make it at 5%. So it's standardised the other way. Normal dairy milk that you get on the shelves here in Australia anyway, and I think most of the Western world is standardised. So what they do, they standardise it down to about 3.25%. So they take some of the cream off the top and sell that as cream products, butter, cream, sour cream, all that stuff, and just leave this standardised fat milk behind. What they do with this other milk that Laura Vohms is talking about, it's called Paul's Farmhouse Gold. They actually add cream to it, and you see a big, thick layer of cream sitting on the top. It's great for making cappuccinos and stuff like that. It's fairly decent coffee culture here in Australia, and they use it a lot in cafes. Anyway, thanks, Kim, for the link there, the two links. John says, if Gavin starts singing, I'm going to pop a glass of port wine and Alpine cheese. If I start singing, the hills are alive with the sound of music. Ah. There you go, John, just for you, mate. Jones says, I absolutely will follow and get the stirred curd process. Thank you so much. No problems, Jones. It works well. Laura Vohm says, question. I've just lost all the questions. There we are, back again. How long to leave out an Emmentaler at room temperature? Mine's been out a week and it has swelling a good inch on each side. Room temperature is about 22 Celsius. Normally it's about 21 days. And that's about the same for the Jarlsberg recipe that I have as well. If it starts to split, if the rind starts to split, then wax the thing and throw it in the cheese cave, because that'll slow down the CO2 development of the cheese. But just keep an eye on it. 21 days is normal. Anyway, Chocolate RX says, can you make cheese with milk that has been frozen? Yes, I've done that twice now. I've used frozen raw cow's milk. One of my friends from Tasmania came over and brought me some raw milk, and I made a Vaccio Romano out of it. It worked okay. It wasn't frozen long. It was only frozen for a week tops. The longer you freeze milk, the more the proteins denature through the freezing process. And I've also used raw sheep's milk, which was frozen as well. And that worked fine. That was only frozen for a week or so, and that worked okay as well. So that's just my experience. I haven't used any milk longer than 2 or 3 weeks that's been frozen. Donna says, life sometimes gets in the way, but I've made one of your cefalotiri in May, May 25th, 2018. I think that's what it is. And it's not showing any signs of mold. It's been vacuum packed. Should I worry about the time restraints to eat? I don't think so. I think that it'll just get better with age, as all cheeses do. It's like wine. cheese and friends. They get better with age. But yeah, I don't think there'll be too many issues with that, Donna. Just go for it. Crack it open now. Now, if you're worried about it maturing too much, then just pop it in the kitchen fridge at 4 degrees Celsius. Slows the maturation process right down to a crawl, and you'll be fine. Okay, Monique says, hello, Monique. Lovely to see you. First time I made Petite Blue was in 32-degree weather in December, and it was disaster. It stuck inside the mould baskets and everything. This made by cow version is going to be amazing. I just know it. Yeah, for those who don't know, Monique and I are doing the experiment kind of together. She's documenting her experiment over on, I think it's a couple of Facebook group called Curds and Whey Down Under. So, and I'm going to document mine on video, which you'll see this weekend. Chocolate RX says, have you ever tried to make cheese from camel milk? Would you make camel milk cheese? No, I've heard it is notoriously bad for setting a curd. Its protein structure is fairly weak, so you won't get a curd set like you would normally. Typically, camel milks are used for making a yogurt cheese style, like Ladner, because it does set fairly well as a yogurt, but not as a cheese. The curd structure is just not there. But no, I don't think I would. Haley says, do you eat meat? Yes, I do. Ozwatcher says, served on the Adelaide in 2000, 2002. Well done, mate. It was a good ship while it was around. Now it's a reef at the bottom of the ocean somewhere. They decommissioned it, stripped it, and sunk it. Anyway, Kim says, Le Fromage Yard selling Château du Jura, Mont Dior style, 250 grams for $20.99. My goodness. Maybe I'll pick some up, but I wasn't going to do any more of those taste test type things anymore because, I was scrolling back through my video, my video list the other day and looking back at the stats for February. And even though I did a video every single day that month, 28 videos in a row, 29 videos in a row, because I did the wrap up the next day, the viewership was dismal. It dropped like a rock, a lead rock even, and started to pick up again in March. People just didn't want to watch it. That's all there was to it. 2,000 views per video tops, and 600 of the one that nobody wanted to watch, which I can't remember what it was. So I won't be doing those commercial taste test style videos anymore. YouTube just didn't recommend them, even though they say that some places that they want some creators to make a video a day, but it just didn't work for me. It didn't work for this channel, that's for sure. Hayder says, thank you for your service. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it. 20 years I was in the Royal Australian Navy. John says, looks like YouTube sent you a prepper hatchet or axe icon plaque. Axe icon plaque. No. Oh, up the top. Yeah, kinda, with the light shining on it. Bit different. Trent said, may I ask, what got you into making your own cheese, and what was the first cheese I ever made? Trent, of course you can ask that question. So what got me into making cheese was, at the time, Kim and I and the family were going through a bit of a transition. We wanted to live a little bit more sustainably on the planet, so we decided to change our lifestyle, grow some more of our own food. We got some chooks. Started planting lots of fruit trees, which we've still got around the yard. And we also, and I started making preserves out of the excess fruit and vegetables that we had, which kind of led me on to cheese. I grew up on a dairy farm as a kid, and we never made any cheese. Closest we got to cheese was butter. So I thought, well, why not? There was a cheese making class in town. It was a bit of a travelling roadshow. Only came once every year. So I signed up for it at the local community centre, and that's where I met the lovely Dorothy and Lorraine. who I actually dedicate my first book to, or partly dedicate it. Um, and the first cheese I made in that class was feta, and it's nothing like the fetas I've made today, but it was feta of a sort. Um, the recipe, I suppose, was feta. Anyway, it was a lovely class. I enjoyed it. Met some fantastic people, um, and we all made cheese. And yeah, since I made that first feta, I think the weekend after, I made probably the most complex cheese I've ever made, which was Wensleydale at the time. Um, and it just took forever. I started at like 7 o'clock at night and didn't finish till 3 in the morning. So that was my baptism of fire as far as cheese making goes. So yeah, so hopefully I've answered your question. 444 says, I've got the flu right now, which means I can hardly taste any flavour of my Cashel blue cheese. Well, that's sad. Karen says, Holly has a bit of bedhead. Indeed, she does. She's just woken up. Very cool. Ian says, I made Jarlsberg from your video. It tastes great, but the holes are really small, even though there are plenty of them. Any thoughts as to why this may be? Yeah, it's all to do with the temperature during that period of the cheese being out, or it could be the strength of your Propionic Shamani. Maybe add a little bit more next time. I had to test with the strength of mine. I think it was how much did I use in the end? I think it was 1/8 of a teaspoon, which is fairly excessive for Propionic Shamani to get the eyes fairly large. But it's all about temperature and the amount of culture the Propionic Shamani you add. Obviously, the larger the cheese you make, the larger the wheel, the more milk you use to make the Jarlsberg. You can scale the recipe up. There's no hassle doing that. Then the bigger the holes are going to be as well. That's why you see in Jarlsberg, which is about, I think it's about that thick, the wheel, and the wheels are massive. They're about this big, right? So it's got a lot of room to expand and create the eyes. Anyway, I hope that helps, Ian. Trent says, is there a cheese that you keep making over and over? Yeah, probably stir-curd cheddar at the moment. I'm using that as my test subject cheese, I suppose. In the early days, it used to be Caerphilly, which is a Welsh cheese, Welsh origins as, because it was just absolutely delicious. I haven't made one for ages. But look, every cheese that I make, I'm trying to make all the cheeses I possibly can. Not only for the YouTube channel to keep it a little bit interesting, but to keep me interested. If I made the same cheese over and over and over again, then I think I'd probably get bored pretty quickly. One of those sort of guys that like to try new things and new techniques and that sort of stuff. 444 says, is Penicillium Roque 40 used for all blue cheeses? Not all blue cheeses. There are different strains of Penicillium. I've got to remember the one for Gorgonzola, if I can remember rightly. Hang on. Blue mold, if I can remember rightly. Let's have a look. It says Penicillium Roque 40. No, there's another mold. Where is it? No, I can't find it. My simple Google search didn't do it for me. Starts with a G. Can't remember what it was. If anybody finds it before I do, please shout out in the chat. But there, it's another style of a blue-green mold that you use for, say, Gorgonzola. So not all Penicillium Roque 40 is not used for all blue cheeses. There are different strains of Penicillium Roque 40 as well. We sell 3 different strains in our shop at littlegreenworkshops.com.au. So there's a mild, a strong, and there's a vegan style, which is fairly on the strong side as well. It's a liquid blue mold. So, okay, something. On a difficulty style, how hard would you rate a Gruyere for home cheesemaker? Yeah, it's more towards the harder style because of the affinage. an affinage is a French word which means to something, to mature. No, it doesn't mean that. It means to, oh, I can't remember. Sorry. A bit of a brain fart today. But yeah, affinage just means the work you do after the cheese is made. So, yeah, you got to do a lot of work to Gruyere. Turn it every day, wash it every second day or something. So yeah, it's a little bit more difficult, I would say, probably on the advanced scale of cheeses to make. Thor says good morning. Oh, good morning, mighty Thor. Hadia says, I would think wrapping the cheese with organic matter would cause additional possibility of spoilage. Probably not so much. You'd be surprised that what they do most of the time is blanch the leaves in boiling water and the spruce bark and all that sort of stuff they add on. Most of the time they blanch it in boiling water and it kills off any yeast and bacteria. So that's pretty good. It minimises. You've got to remember that when you're making cheese, you really do want, if you're making natural rind cheese, you want the natural flora in the environment to be on your cheese. It changes the taste, which is pretty cool. Steve says Gavin Weber is a cheese god, I think. No, I don't think so. Just an ordinary bloke just trying to make cheese. 444 says, have you ever made kasumazu yet? No, not intentionally anyway, and I don't think I ever will. So no, it's not happening. Kim's throwing links out left, right, and centre there, which is pretty cool. Craig says the triple cream brie was amazing. We got our first super chat of the day. I'll get to Craig's question in a minute. Let's find out who that was from, if I can find it. Okay. Okay, Initiative. I think that's how you say it. Thank you. I am attempting Gruyere for girlfriend's birthday next year. And there's your little thank you star. Thanks, mate. Appreciate your $2 super chat. Well done. Yeah, give it a go. So let me have a look. Let's go back. Craig had a question. It was burning. I know it was. Here we go. The triple cream brie was amazing. It took quite a while to mature, around 7 weeks, but is a large cheese. 190 millimeter hoop I used. Definitely worth doing. I used around 5 grams of truffles at $2.50 a gram. Well, that's not too expensive. I thought it might be a little bit more expensive, Craig. But thanks for that. And if the flavour was great, I'd give it a go. I've got a fairly good triple cream brie recipe there. So, yeah, that's cool. Thanks, mate. Sally says Holly's waking up. I think she's gone back to sleep. Yeah, had enough. Too much excitement for the day. Anyway, Thor says, hi, Gavin. I live in the Blue Mountains, which is near Sydney. Similar summer temperatures to yourself. Is it really advisable for me to make cheese during summer? Mighty Thor, I do. I make cheese during the summer, no problems at all. You can remember, well, our house is double insulated in the roof space. We've got double glazing in all the windows. So it's fairly comfortable. So I think the maximum temperature it gets to inside is about 25 degrees Celsius. And then if we really need to, we'll put on air conditioners, which we don't use very often. So don't have too many problems as long as you make it in a fairly cool kitchen. No more than, I wouldn't do it any more than 35 degrees Celsius. It gets a little bit too warm. Got to remember, some of the cheeses don't need their temperatures that high. So the milk will be the same temperature as what the ambient room temperature is. So yes, I make cheese in summer all the time. Now, when I air dry the cheese, I make sure that is air dried probably only for about a day. That's all it takes to air dry, so there's no issues there. And then either vac pack, wax, or whatever I need to do with the cheese. Pop it in the ripening box if it's a mold ripened cheese. So yeah, make it, do it. Truffle brie, delicious? Yes, indeed. Gary says, have you made feta? Well, I think Kimmy has put in a couple of links of feta down there, so hopefully that's helped there, Gary. Pam says, hello from 94 degree Fahrenheit in Central Oregon. That'll be warm for that part of the country. Julian, how hard was it making your first cheese, and what was it? I think I've already done that one, Julian. It wasn't that hard. I did it during a class, followed all the steps, and bingo boingo, I made feta, which was a cow's milk feta, and it was okay. I won't say it was anything exceptional, but it was cheese and it was nice. Tyler says, what do I have to do so I can become a cheeseman when I grow up? Make lots of cheese, Tyler. That's all you have to do. Make lots of cheese and get some experience, and then I'll throw the gauntlet over to you, and then you can be the next cheeseman. How's that sound, mate? Okay, Jordan says, it's not so hot here right now with a room temperature of 28 with the AC on. Is that too hot to make cheese? No, Jordan, it's not. It's fine. As long as it doesn't exceed like I said before, the temperature of the milk. Oh, we got another super chat, and the old Curd Nerd light is flashing its little heart out there. Let's just kill that. Who's that from? Hasn't popped up the top for me. Claudio. G'day, Claudio. Thanks for your $1.99 super chat. Appreciate it, mate. Fantastic. And there was your little gold star. Lovely. Okay. Next question is from John. Says, just sent a recipe of Montdior and a world cheese book info. Yeah, I've got lots of, I've got some world cheese books and stuff down there, John. I don't know if you can see them. But yeah, I would have gone and looked that up straight away. And if you've got a recipe, yeah, I'll have a look at that. But I don't have email open at the moment because it makes lots of noises during the show. Okay. Hader says, we were contemplating digging a cellar for a charcuterie and cheese, but are concerned about humidity. Any suggestions? Humidity's supposed to be high in those sorts of things, so that's why they matured cheese in caves many years ago, and still do to these days. They're humid, around 80%, very moist, and that's good. So that's what you do. AJ Roman says, have you made brie? Indeed I have, and Kim's put the link up there. Jordan says, I loved your taste test. I tried Borson because of it, and now we love it. It is quite a nice cheese, Jordan. I had it before in, the commercial version, and I was scouring the interwebs, as you do, and I did find a YouTube video, one of those, I don't know, it seems to be the norm now, and I don't really like them, but it was one of those ones where they speed up the footage of what they're making, and they don't list any of the ingredients. Oh, they say the name of the ingredient, but not how much. So basically, I had to figure it all out from that video and created my own recipe for Borson. Tried it, loved it. It was really good. We've got another super chat. Oh, fantastic. Just kill a light. It's a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. That's from Thor. Cheers, Gavin and Kim. Have a great day. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. And thank you for your kind $10 donation. There's your gold star. All righty. I love this technology. Luke says, fellow sailor RAN. Cool. Thanks, Luke. I think we had a chat earlier into the name. Maybe, no, there's a couple of them. Lots of sailors there. All right. Chocolate RX says, I'm surprised at the stats for the Cheese a Day challenge. It was one of those videos that popped up on my feed that brought me to your channel. Oh, okay. But yeah, the stats, like I said, Chocolate RX, if you go on, there's a follow-up video at the end, and it actually talks about the drop in viewership for February. I did a little bit of a, what I do differently type thing, and what happened during that 28 days. So yeah, it's a bit ordinary. But look, don't get me wrong. I love doing the series. It was great fun. And I don't know if you noticed, I actually batched the filming because don't go out there every day and sit down and eat a piece of cheese. I would batch on the weekend. I would do 7 episodes in a row over the period of, say, I think it was 2 hours or something. And I won't tell you about the secrets behind all the filming, but I'd batch them. So I filmed 4 or 5 times to get all the videos done. And yeah, it was great fun. It was a bit of a logistical nightmare. So there's only one person doing all the filming and the editing, which was me. But yeah, it was good fun. I did enjoy it. Dwayne says, "Gosh, I watched every one of them. Discovered Borson." Well, thanks, Dwayne. And John says, "Do you have a permanent food forest in the back?" 40 from Bill Mollison. Well, here's one of the books I read, the permaculture book. But I think we actually had, we cut one tree down the other day, heirloom Anzac peach, because it was just growing over the roof and we couldn't have that, especially with fire season and stuff coming up. Anyway, but yes, we've got about 30 fruit trees on our quarter-acre block. It's not even quarter-acre, 800 square metres. Anyway, let's kill the light. There's the gold star. That's for Jones, I think. G'day, Jones. Thank you for your $5 super chat. Your assistance and all the saved cheeses I'm not going to ruin are worth far more, but it is starting a start. I'm not going anywhere. Thanks for everything. Thanks, Jones. Appreciate it, mate. Well done. Thank you for the $5. And it looks like there's another one just popped up. It's Super Chat Saturday. There you go, Super Chat Saturday. Did that stop? Yes, it stopped. Who's this one from? That's from Karen. Thank you, Karen. Please remind me how and share how the truffle brie will be done. What kind of truffle, black or white, and when is it added? My burts tend to be pretty small. Well, from what I learnt from Craig's not video, but his Facebook posts. He shaved. I think there was shaved in lines and very thinly shaved. It looked like black truffle to me. I could be wrong, but I think it was black truffle. And he put it through the cheese. Now, if I got it wrong, Craig, just chime in, mate. Sorry. And yeah, you'd only use the smallest amount. The smallest amount. If you've got powdered truffle, probably even better. You can make a little layer in between. So when you're filling up the hoops for, say, camembert or small breeze, using the 10 centimetre wide hoop, which I think is 4 inches, then fill it up half, and then put your layer of powdered truffle. Will probably be better. Put it one single layer, and then fill up the rest of the hoop, and then you'll have that permeate through the cheese. It'll be extra mushroomy flavour. Be pretty good. So hopefully that answers your question, Karen. How much? It's up to you. The more you put in, the stronger the flavour's going to be. Obviously, the less it's going to be a little bit milder. Okay. Cool. Where are we up there? Claudio says, I'm attempting making a Montdior. Nervous about it. Maybe you should try it too. Well, if John's recipe's any good, I'll give it a go. Zane says, hi, Gavin. Thanks for your video. Sure have helped a lot. I am right in the middle of cheddaring 5 pounds, but it's taking extra long. Should it, or have I done something wrong? Well, I don't know what's gone wrong, Zane. In the middle of cheddaring 5 pounds. I think that says 5 pounds. It's taking extra long. Don't know. Expand more. I don't understand. Ian says, thanks for the Jarlsberg answer. Looking forward to my next attempt. Indeed. No problems at all, Ian. Chocolate RX says, are there any cheeses that pair well with chocolate? Ooh. Now, the milder ones are probably better, unless you really want a salty sort of chocolate. Then you could try some of the saltier cheeses. Don't know. Haven't really tried chocolate with cheese very much. Yeah, so I can't tell. I can't tell. Hewer says Pecorino Sardo is good. Yes, it is. It is nice. I think it's made in Sardinia, of all places. It's made with sheep's milk, so very, very similar to Pecorino Romano. Okay, Trent, another super chat. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Thank you for the $4.99. Thank you for sharing your curd knowledge with us. No problems at all. Most welcome. Thank you very much, Trent. Appreciate it. Okay. Jones says, sometimes when I make mozzarella, it tends up rubbery and less melty, even though I'm following the same process. I'm wondering if it has to do with the freshness of the milk and the age of the rennet. Think that's possible. Definitely the milk. The milk is seasonal. Even though companies try and standardize milk these days, there is a little bit of seasonality difference in the amount of proteins in the milk, the amount of fat in the milk. So if you're using raw milk, then definitely there is a seasonality issue that you will come up against. The milk has more fat content at the start of the lactation cycle for the animal than it does at the end when it's starting to dry up, where it has more protein than fat. So yes, it will definitely change. Your rennet does degrade over time, so just be aware of that. And if it's rubbery, then maybe you're using a little bit too much rennet. Could be one of the causes as well. Anyway, I hope that works. Ozwatcher says, I noticed many books behind you, Gavin. Do you have a list of the books, the cheese books you have in your library? No, I don't, actually. I do have a list of books that I think are worth buying over at littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Just go and check those out for a second. 2 secs. Here we go. So over at we've got cheese books somewhere here in our shop. So these are the ones I think are worth buying. So this one's out of stock. The 200 easy homemade cheeses. I've got that, and I use a lot of recipes out of that one. So that I modify because they're all really large, and some of them aren't quite correct, I think anyway. But I just can't get it anymore. It's out of print. So if you can get it anywhere, then good luck to you. It's by Deborah Amram Boys. If you can get it maybe on Amazon, I've got a link below to my Amazon store, and I've got a link to that book down there too if you can get it. This one by Mary Carlin, Artisan Cheesemaking Home's a good one. I've got a few recipes out of that one, which is pretty good, but they're all fairly small, so I've had to upgrade them. This one here, Artisan Cheese, a vegan cheese. I've yet to tackle that one, but I've read through it, and it's a very good book. Another one that's hard to get is the 4th edition of Ricky Carroll's book, Home Cheese Making. We're trying to get some more of those. That's fairly good. New book that we've got, Making Butter and Yogurt, is very good, beautifully laid out. It's from a company in New Zealand called Country Trading Co. It's very good. Obviously, my own book. I've got that in print and in ebook, so you can check that out. Another great series of books is by Gianniklas Caldwell, which I highly recommend. I think we haven't got the mastering because that's hard to get as well. It's fairly expensive, but it's a very thick book and is very technical. If you can get that on Amazon, use the link below, and I get a little cut, which is cool. So that's Mastering Artisan Cheese Making, Mastering Basic Cheese Making. Very good books indeed. And if you want jokes, then I've got a joke book. But another good one, if you're using just raw milk, is The Art of Natural Cheese Making by David Asher. Great book. So they're my book recommendations. I only stock the ones that I like, I've got, and I've read. So back to camera 2. There we go. Teddy, stop complaining. Teddy's complaining down the bottom. Anyway, 24 minutes past. Kim's probably going to give me the wind up soon. I've just got to get to a last few questions here. But thanks for the question about the books. Where are we? Monique says, Penicillium glaucum. That's the one. Is the blue-green mold in Igor, Gorgonzola Dolce, which is the one we can get here in Australia, made by raw milk, which is pretty good. And that's the one I got some of that in the fridge at the moment, and when I try making gorgonzola, I'm going to use a bit of that blue mold and inoculate my milk. fingers crossed, see how that goes. JD says, hi, Grandpa. Yes, I am old. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Hadia says, my wife wants to add veg, herb, garden, and fruits to various cheeses. Is there a pre-wash process or process that helps make more possible without causing mold or deterioration of firmness or quality? Yeah, so if any hard herbs or spices, I tend to boil them, especially like chilies and peppers, as in peppercorns and stuff like that. I boil them first in a half a cup of water so I think it's about 5 minutes, 5 to 15 minutes, can't remember. It's in the videos anyway. And that gets rid of any yeast or bacteria that may be on those that you're going to put into your cheese. With leafy herbs, then you simply dry them out in the oven, or a dehydrator, and then use them from there. It's better if they're not moist because, yes, they can rot in the cheese. Jordan says Penicillium glaucum is the mold that's used in the making of some types of blue, including Bluedegex. I can't pronounce it. Roche Baron, and some varieties of Blue Avignon and Gorgonzola. Yep, indeed. Thank you, mate. Bob says, so the green cheese of the moon is an unripe cheese. Yes, I suppose it is. I think you've been watching too much Wallace and Gromit. Dan says, I don't know what I'm watching, but I like the title. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Yes, it is The Gathering of the Curd Nerds. Sergio says, I made an Emmentaler cheese, and during the maturation it started to show black spots on the rind, I think. 1 month and no evolution so far. I'm sure it's not cat hair. What should I do? Just wipe it off with a simple brine solution, Sergio. I don't think you'll have any problems with it. If it starts to leave imprints in the cheese, it's no big deal. You just keep washing it. All cheeses that you have a natural rind with will all grow mold. That's what they do. You can't do much about that. Anyway, Trent says, don't forget to cluck the like button and subscribe. Click, yes, please. There's a like button. Click the like. It shows YouTube that people are interested in these live streams and maybe pops them up in their feed more often. Dan says, strangely, I'm from Cheshire, aka Cheese Shire. Maybe that's why I found this. I've made a Cheshire, Dan, and you can probably check it out on the channel. It's time to go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much and sorry I've missed so many questions today. It's a shame that I've had to finish early, but it's not finishing early. It's on time, but just couldn't get to all your questions. But please join me next this Wednesday coming up. Same time, same channel, and there'll be another show where you can ask your questions. Don't forget to pop over to littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Let's check that out. Here we are, Little Green Workshops. That's where the store that Kim and I run, and we send cheese supplies, but not only cheese, we do all sorts of stuff like cheese, candles, body, soap, brewing, all that sort of stuff. So that's what we do in our spare time when we're not making videos. So very cool. And don't forget to support the channel if you want to. There's a join button below for YouTube memberships, and there's a link below for Patreon, where you get tiers. There's different tiers of support, and you get perks and even cheese kits sent to you anywhere in the world for supporting the channel. And there's obviously some merch. So cups, T-shirts, certified curd nerd. We are over at Teespring or down in the merch shelf below. Very cool. Have a safe weekend, and thank you very much. And may your curds set firm. All right. See you next time. See you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.